Yeah, I got a haircut. May how you doing, Bobby Dirkens here. May the Lord be with you. I love you. Thank you so much for showing up. Thank you so much for being here. So, over the past couple of eves, I have been going over the, that's a hydraulic chair, by the way. I've been going over the bowl games of Clemson football. Started with the 1980s. Did the 1990s last night. And then now I'm going into the 2000 seasons. Okay. Bunch of you in here, may there too. If you're anything like me, you know, Monday is your work week. Now, I know there's people here, you work on the weekend, you work third shift. So, I'm not excluding you whatsoever. So, may there to all of yous in here. It's like a strong fart in here. You know what I mean? You can smell the essence of butthole. Bubba Clemson's in here. May there to you, Bubba Clemson. Bubba Clemson's good people. Good people. Good people. Y'all give me 1 second, okay? Give me just a second. I'm logging in here. I have to log in. I know I should have done this before I kicked off the grand old sports show. But that's not Bobby Dirkens for you. All right? Bobby Dirkens. Here we go. Lord, I can't tap. Worth a crap. All right, I appreciate everybody showing up right here. This is a Sunday night. I know tomorrow's Monday. You got to go in, got to do your job. CVE video. May there to you. May there to you, Bo buddy. Thank you so much for showing up. Bubba Clemson, good to see you. Tonight, we're going to talk about the Clemson football early 2000s. Now, you say, oh, Bobby, we're just, 2 or 3 weeks away from the season kicking off. We know that it has been changed. We know that we're not going to be playing certain people. We will be playing certain people. Why are you not talking about that? And I'm just going to go ahead and be honest with y'all. I'm tired of talking about this season and everything that's been going on. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. I can't be anything other than honest with you. I'm just tired of talking about it. So, what I felt I should do that deep down between my, my butthole and my baby birds, if you know what I mean, is talk about just Clemson football. You know what I mean? And I agree with you, Bubba Clemson. Just go ahead and set the ball down, whether we kick it off or not. Let's play football. Ron Dyes in here, may there to you, old buddy. I appreciate it. Thank you all for showing up. SC Tiger Fan 803. And by the way, if you know anybody who would just like to stop, living in this reality that's been annoying, that everybody's like, well, you should be doing this and you should be talking about this. Great. You can turn on the TV and find 900 channels. You can get on the Instagram. You can get on the YouTube and find 9,000, 10,000 people talk about why we should all be doing this, that, and the other. Or you can escape with me, which will be a lot of fun. Let's just do that. All right. College football, that's it, really says if the players want to play, let them play. I agree with you. You become 18 years old and you can smoke cigarettes and you go out and go fight in war. If you can have your head blown off your shoulders, I think you can decide whether you should go play football or not. I think anybody who thinks that it's okay for you to go fight in a war but it's not okay to decide whether you should play football. I think they have absolute doo-doo for brains. And I mean that with all the happiness in my heart. I mean that. Okay, so let's get away from that. Let's get into fun. I'm tired of talking about all that much stuff. So last night I talked about the 1990s bowl season. To me, the 1990s embodies everything wrong with Clemson football. It's how Clemson football turned bad. Sean D's in here. Hey, how you doing? So the 1990s to me was everything wrong with Clemson. All right. And by the way, if you like what you're hearing tonight, I don't care if you go on your Facebook page. I don't care if you go on Twitter. I don't care if you go on that weird site that you promote all your crap on. They need to see this. Because we need to get away from everything that's stupid that's going on right now. So I'm not going to dive into that. Y'all just go on it, hit the thumbs up, hit the likes, and share it with your mama, your clergyman, etc. So, let's recap. 1980s was the glory days for Clemson. It truly was. We won the national championship in 81. We had sanctions. In the 82 season, we went undefeated, but sanctions. Stuff happened. We ended up winning some bowl games against some big teams. Danny Ford and the athletic department ended up parting ways. They hired Ken Hackfield in the 90s. Had a few good seasons, had a few good recruiting classes. He ended up getting fired. They hired Tommy West. Was not a good decision whatsoever. If you're Tommy West out there, I don't hold any hard feelings towards you because, I mean, my Lord, you made more than me and all the people that's watching this video times about 10. So I think you're quite fine. Who cares what I think about you and what we think about you? But at the end of the day, you are not a good fit for Clemson football, and we don't know why they hired you coming out of UT Chattanooga. So then they hired this guy with the last name Bowden. At the time, there was no more prolific name than Bowden. Bobby Bowden had won 2 national championships. Well, was about to win the second one. His son Terry was at Auburn, was doing great things. And his other son, Tommy, was at Tulane, about to go undefeated. So Clemson fires Tommy West. They go down. They go down to Tulane. They hire Tommy Bowden. They bring him in. Has a guy named Rich Rodriguez. Run the offense. And then we start the season with him. Now, I want to go back to that time. I remember the very day, the very first game that Tommy Bowden coached for Clemson. They played against Marshall. Now, for you who are younger individuals, maybe you're new to the game, you hear marshalling, you go, that ain't a good team. Back it up. There was a youngin' that just played for them named Randy Moss. Ever heard of him? If you hadn't, just please go ahead and log off my site. Please don't log on to my site or anybody associated with me ever again. Randy Moss was the man. Randy Moss was one of the top wide receivers coming out of high school. He initially signed with Notre Dame, had some problems. They pulled their offer to him from Notre Dame. Florida State signed him. Had create some more problems. Then he ended up signing with Marshall. Randy Moss, hands down one of the best wide receivers to ever play the game in any league ever. And that's it. Now, I'm not talking about his life. I'm not talking about what he did. I'm not talking about who he was. We're just talking pure football here, okay? Jordan Bowman's in the house. Might I tell you? Hey, Jordan, thanks for showing up. I've been looking for you all night. Did you wash your butt tonight? Did you get the doo-doo out between your cheeks? Did you get the crust off around from your anus? Ah, Jordan, you know I'm picking on you. I'm glad you're in here. No. So, this Marshall team is not the Marshall team that you know now. There's a youngin' named Chad Pennington playing quarterback for Marshall at the time. It was the very first game that Tommy Bowden coached in, and he had the misfortune of having to play against the Chad Pennington team. And people who don't dig into Marshall at that time doesn't know that much about how great they were. You know, you think about, and just so let me reach up here. Hold on, let me see. I'm going to try to look at the comments here on my laptop, my trusty laptop. Bubba Clemson said this: Marshall was awesome back in the day. This is true. They were the North Dakota Bison of the era. So if you step back and you look at the Subdivision Bowl, the Championship Series Bowl, we're talking about the Furmans, the Wofford, the East Washington. We're talking about, obviously, the James Madison and North Dakotas of the bunch. You would step back and you would say that Marshall was not only amazing, they were absolutely incredible. Back in that day, they were the North Dakota Bison. They were outrageous. They were ridiculous when it comes to talent. So that's who Bowden had to play in his very first game at Clemson. So if you're sitting here and you're new to the NFL football over the past 20 years, you're sitting there going, who's Chad Pennington? Bada, bada, ding, 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 bada, bada, bada. I hate to tell you, Chad Pennington was a very good quarterback. And Marshall was not a bad team. They lost that ball game. I could go look up the score. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, they lost it. I remember. But let's get back to what I was talking about, the 2000s. Talked about the 80s. We talked about the 90s, which to me, the 90s shaped everything about Clemson football until Dabo Swinney. So, in the 1999 Peach Bowl, Tommy Bowden-led Clemson Tigers went in to play against Mississippi State. Now, this was Jackie Sherrill, or whatever his name was. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that Jackie Sherrill, I don't know if he's alive or dead today. You know, I mean no disrespect, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you this. When people die or they lose their mind, people begin to be nice to them because they should be nice to them. But Jackie Sherrill, during the time of the press interview, I can remember Jackie Sherrill was a jerk. I mean, I'm serious. I don't care today if he doesn't know his name and he's pissing on himself and he thinks it's one of his grandchildren coming down into his diaper. That does not change the fact that Jackie Sherrill was a jerk to Tommy Bowden during this. Go back and look up that press interview. Jackie Sherrill was an absolute douche. So if he's dead today, or if he thinks that, Doo-Doo Brown was his best friend in the world, that does not change things. That when he had a mind, he was using his mind to be an absolute worthless human being. The sad thing about it is Tommy Bowden and the team lost to Mississippi State in December 30th of 1999 in the Peach Bowl, 17-7 to Jackie Sherrill and the Mississippi State team. Okay? There we go. Does that make you feel better? Does not make me feel better whatsoever. So, yeah, go with that. Then the next year, dear Lord help us, we played in the Gator Bowl. Played in the Gator Bowl January 1st, 2001 against the Virginia Tech Hokies. I've always hated Virginia Tech for a reason, and if you watch my videos and you pay attention to a bunch of them, by the way, there's 15 people in here, there's only 5 thumbs up. Lord, I might be stupid if piss and may have dated my third cousin. I know the math here. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up. You'll feel better about yourself, even if you're lying to yourself. I mean, my God. It's not like I'm charging you money to hit the thumbs up. It's like we're like, $100 here. Very next season, we play Virginia Tech in the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, Florida. And we get our balls ripped off of us. They had stripes on them, but it's not the stripes because we're Tigers. It's stripes on it because they beat us that bad. Yeah. May there be. So, Tommy Bowden and the boys lose another one. Sean D's in here, may there be. So I told you yesterday that let me go up here. I always want to make it right. Because people, you know on the internet, people get on there, you were wrong by here. Like it changes anything. Like, go die somewhere. I bet you and your doll collection is really suffering. Anyway, 1993 was the last year we won a bowl game. And the next time we won a bowl game was in 2001. So if you do the math there, even if you're an idiot, was 8 years. So we lose Virginia Tech in 2001, you know. Very next year is 2001 Humanitarian Bowl. We played in the Humanitarian Bowl against the Louisiana Tech, whatever they are, buttholes, dookie eaters, little kid daters, I mean, the truth is, it just is. It's a ball of crap. But Clemson ended up in the 2001 Humanitarian Bowl. What a loser does that sound like? I mean, I love my Clemson Tigers, but I'm going to tell you, some of y'all, you love your team so much that you get pissed for brains when it comes to talking about your team. I love Clemson, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, Humanitarian Bowl did not really shake it for me. I wasn't sitting there going like, I hope they win it. I mean, that they were in it was technically that they already had lost it. Or some of you had already unsubscribed to me for saying that. And for that, I'm totally fine with that. But we won that game. That was the first bowl game we had won in an 8-year period. How pathetic is that? So, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know if Bobby Johnson's up. Let me see real quick. I'm serious. This is real time. I really don't know this stuff. Stick with me. Bobby, I don't have time. If you logged on to my channel, you had time. Bobby Robinson. Clemson. All right, okay, this is, let me see, did he die? I don't know. Obituary. I really, truly can't find it, and I really don't care that much to dig into it, but Bobby Robinson was the reason Clemson football went to hell. Some of you sitting here going, what do you mean by went to hell? Okay, there's heaven, and then there's hell. So you go to heaven if you believe in Jesus, all right, and then you follow him, live for him, you go to heaven. If you think that he's a douchebag and he means absolutely nothing at all, but then you end up dead going, oh, I found out he's real and stuff, you're going to hell. You go to hell and stuff. That is exactly what happened to Clemson football. All right? You may not like that. That might hurt your feelings. You might go, that's not what I believe. I could care less about what you believe because remember, Bobby Johnson thought you could fire Danny Ford and hire a guy who was not proven and then hire another guy who was even less proven and be a good football team. But yeah, Bobby Johnson was one of the worst things that ever happened to Clemson football. It was like Lucifer to humanity. Though some of you may be offended, if you tell the truth, even if it's in a dark room by yourself and you never admit it to anybody, you know I'm telling the truth. All right, so here we go. There's people arguing on here. I love it when y'all argue. You don't know it. So we win the Humanitarian Bowl in 2002. 2003, I always get the timelines mixed up, but y'all forgive me. God help me. We play in the 2005 Champ Sports Bowl. No. That's wrong. So we win the Humanitarian Bowl. Then we play in the Tangerine Bowl the very next year against Texas Tech. All right, and Cliff Kingsbury, the guy who's been the coach out there at Texas Tech, he had the great hair and stuff. Women loved him. And they found out that it doesn't matter what your hair looks like. You actually have to be able to coach football. He gets fired. What happens? He becomes the head coach of an NFL team. So if there's some of you right now, I'm going to stop right now. If there's some of you right now who's like, I need to try extra hard in life. Right. Why? Cliff didn't have to. He went from being the head coach of a mid-tier college football team to being a NFL football head coach and being paid a lot of money. Why should you try so hard? Why? But going back to that, we lost Texas Tech 55-15. I don't know how that happens. I really don't know. So the very next season, we play in the Peach Bowl. Now this is the season that a lot of people, including myself, I got hairs growing out my nose. I ain't picking my nose. But who cares if I do? Everybody was calling for Bowden. They were tired of Bowden Bowl. They were tired of Clemson football with Tommy Bowden at the head. They were tired of it. They'd had Hatfield. They definitely had West. They were tired of everything. Fire him. Let him go. Well, in this season, Tommy Bowden managed to not only lose to Wake Forest, but get they broke their foot off in his butthole. And Wake Forest beat the heck out of it. Everybody thought that, this is done. So my sister comes to me, Diana Dirkens. She comes to me and she says, listen to me. I want you to go to this Clemson Florida State game with me. And I said, listen to me. I ain't going to it. We know what's going to happen. Clemson hadn't beat them since they joined the conference. We're done. And she annoyed me to death, like only a good sister could. And so we went. We caught one of our good buddies, Chad. He's good people, hilarious. One of the funnest moments of my entire life. He went with us. We did not expect what happened to happen. Clemson goes in probably one of the most about faces of all times. I don't care who you pull for. I don't care if you pull for ISIS. And one of the greatest turns of all times, they go in. Clemson beats them for the first time since they joined the conference. The next week, they beat the crap out of Duke, which, really, who cares? And then one of the worst beatings of the South Carolina Gamecocks in the history, if not the history, of Clemson versus South Carolina. My family's outside of here just screaming. I don't know why. They know that I get on here and they start talking. And it's time for my youngest one to start screaming like his hands in boiling water. And we beat the crap out of South Carolina 63-17. It was incredible. It was a wonderful time. We all loved it. Went on to the Peach Bowl. We played one of the 17 Clawsons they have, and we beat them in the Peach Bowl. And that bought Tommy Bowden many more years. We go on to the next year, right? We go on to the next year. Clemson plays in the Citrus Bowl, beat Syracuse. No, that was Colorado. Very next year, we play in the Music City Bowl. We lose to Kentucky. Year after that, we play Auburn. Lose to them in overtime in the Chick-fil-A Bowl. That's 2007. So if you look at the Tommy Bowden era, we were 3-3 in bowl games. Am I right? Let me see. I at this time, it was so depressing, who cares? One loss, two loss, one loss, one win, three loss, one loss, two loss, three loss, four loss, five loss. We were 3-5 in bowl wins with him. Now, I'm going to stop right here and say this. I don't think that Tommy Bowden was a bad coach. I don't think Tommy Bowden was a bad person. Here's what I think what happened. I think everybody around Tommy went, you're supposed to be a football coach. Your dad's a football coach, your brother's a football coach, your other brother's a football coach. You're supposed to be a football coach. You can go in and earn more money than all of us times 10s in 1 year. Now, I know a bunch of you out there on your hypocritical horses, you're going to sit here and go, and I think for that, once again, you're a hypocrite. A hypocrite means you claim you would do one thing, But in reality, you do another. And your claim money would have no play in it, but you're lying because you're a liar. You have absolute blankety blank for brains. But you want to play off to everybody else that you're this wholesome individual. Or that you're so dirty that everybody else is dirty that your dirtiness is, well, good. I know a bunch of you out there like that. And I hate to say that. It's true. But at the end of the day, I think that Tommy Bowden made the money that he could make. He took the money. He made it. He earned it for as long as he could because he was supposed to. Let's go to Georgia fans. Do I think that Mark Richt, at his height of coaching, was a bad coach? No. If you look at Mark Richt and you go, he was a bad coach. No. I think that Mark Richt just finally stopped caring. And I think once he got to Miami, he gave up. But what is so funny about it is Mark Richt and Tommy Bowden, even when they didn't care, was better than most coaches who did care. It's hilarious. It's a joke. So, Dabo Swinney takes over. I said the 2000s, so we have to go into the Swinney years. Dabo Swinney takes over in 2008. 2008, Clemson had enough talent to compete for the national championship. Can't say that they would have won it, but they definitely could compete for it. We know what happened in the middle of the season. Clemson was percentage-wise, realistically-wise, out of the running for not only the national championship, but the ACC championship. Terry Don Phillips pulled Tommy Bowden to his office. And he said, look, I have to have an ACC championship. Let's talk business right here. Let's imagine you're coaching an NFL football team. I'm going NFL here. You have Peyton Manning at quarterback. You have Marshawn Lynch at running back. The wide receiver, you have Randy Moss. You have, well, I could keep going down the list, but the types of players like, well, what I just named out right off the bat. And you say, we have this talent across the board, across the team. Even if we don't win the national championship, we should at least get to a New Year's Six Bowl. I have to have it. And the coach steps back and says, I can't give it to you. Statistically, it's out of the question. I mean, a bunch of people would have to quit for me not to be able to give this to you. And you go, well, I'm sorry. You have the talent to win it. You didn't. And according to many sources that I have, the realistic meeting that happened was Terry Don Phillips sitting down with Tommy Bowden and said, I like you, but come on, man. You have the talent. You should win the ACC. I should have an ACC championship this year. And Tommy said, I can't do it. And he said, well, then we got problems. And a young man who had never been a coordinator in his life, he was only a wide receivers coach, a Dabo Swinney, was promoted to interim head coach. At that point, we beat South Carolina for the first time in a while. We went to the Gator Bowl in 2009. January 1st, 2009. So this is his first Gator Bowl. Played Nebraska and Bo Pelini. You remember when everybody loved just saying Pelini, Bo Pelini, Bo Pelini. Remember, a lot of these guys, they love, in the media, they love saying names that sounds good. It's easy to write down, you know? We lost 26-21, and what's that name? Dominic So, or whatever the crap his name was. He was a nut playing for them. Next season, we played Kentucky in the Music City Bowl in Nashville. We won. Year after that, we played South Florida. We lost. A lot of people was calling for his head at that time. Then we finally got our first 10-win season against Orange Bowl. In the Orange Bowl. Played West Virginia. We got blown out by 37.70-33. I'm going to stop right there. Because after that, it got crazy good for Clemson. 2 national championships, college football playoff, back to back to back to back to back to back to back. Here's my point. I mean, we won the Chick-fil-A Bowl against LSU on December the 31st, 2012. If you look at who was on that team, you had Landry, you had Odell Beckham Jr. That was not a piss-poor football team. We beat them. We had Taj Boyd, Tanuke Hopkins. Here's what I'm coming to, and I'm going to shut this sucker down. And now that I know that's going into the 2010s and 11s and 12s and 13s and so on. Clemson had a lot of mess to clean up. They did. If you're sitting there and you're going, you're wrong. Clemson had to fix a lot of stuff. And it goes all the way back to the days that Danny Ford was let go because he didn't do things the way they thought that he should do. I mean, being honest, it really comes down to they didn't do the things that Danny Ford and the NCAA, which I question the way the NCAA. Let me tell you right now, let me tell you about the NCAA. They can know you cannot feed your family. They know that your brothers and your sisters are going hungry. That means nothing to NCAA. All that matters is the things they lay out. Their rules is all they care about. That's all they care about. Well, you have to understand our rule says that nobody can give money to feed your little brother or your little sister. You have to understand that. So when they're going hungry and dying, or having to steal for it, you have to remember it. This is our rules. Says the NCAA. I mean, I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. Oh, you needed a ride to the airport from a coach. NCAA violation. Go die somewhere. I don't care if you're at Clemson or Georgia or whether you're at Southern California or whether you're at Minnesota. I don't care if you're at Ohio State. I don't care if you're wherever you are. I'm just telling you, from me to you, this is bullcrap. Now, the stuff that went on at Oklahoma State where Chubba Howard, I don't want to get Hubbard, I could care less if I pronounce that youngin's name right. He wasn't fighting for the right thing to be done. All he wanted to do was to have rap music played in the background saying the N-word that he could dance to with his pants down, shagged around his pants, which, by the way, that was one of the requirements. I didn't make that up. And he's shaking around and stuff and so on. He didn't care if you had ever experienced racism. He could give a rat's you-know-what about it. Those guys, they can go away. We're talking about guys who their little brothers and sisters, they can't eat. Their mamas, they can't eat. And so, that is the NCAA violation that has been handed down to a bunch of people. Now Hubbard, He just wants to be able to shake his you-know-what to music saying the N-word. That's what he wants. I mean, that's in his heart's desire. But here, Clemson's getting found for just handing out money for people. And Bobby Johnson goes, I will not stand for that. Blah, 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 blah. My point is in all of this is there's a lot of schools who got caught doing stuff that was wrong. That really, at the end of the day, was not wrong. I don't care if you're Clemson or you're not. I don't care if you're South Carolina. You know I hate South Carolina. I'm a Clemson fan. South Carolina Gamecock's supposed to hate me, and I'm supposed to hate them. That's in the rule books. But if you got a South Carolina Gamecock whose family's going hungry, and the only way to feed them is to violate NCAA rules, I say violate them. If it's a Clemson player, I say violate them. Because those rules ain't worth keeping. There's some rules that's worth keeping, but those type of rules, I say break them, and break them hard. Anyway, I'm Bobby Dirkens. Thanks so much for joining me. We took this a little travel down the couple of days of the 1980s, 1990s, 2000s. And yeah, I'm with you, Jordan Bowman. Let's bring the balloons back. I mean, my God, it's not like a bunch of turtles are dying. But then again, that's what they would tell us it's going to happen. I'm Bobby Dirkens. You keep showing up, I'll keep showing out. Hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications. Pass it along to a bunch of people. And I appreciate it. I like it that y'all are here. You take care of yourself. Let's have a good week this week. And remember, at the end of the day, college football is supposed to be fun. It does not supposed to be a statement. It does not supposed to smack people in the face no matter what they look like. College football is an escape from the regular world that the majority of us is working in. It's good to see you. You take care. I'm Bobby Dirkens. You keep showing up. I'll keep showing out.